everyone, welcome to my channel. Thanks so much for joining me today. My name is Shannon, and today I have kind of a fun video for you. I'm going to do I believe it's a large family mom tag. I have 20 questions that I'm going to go through and answer, all about having a large family and being a mom to lots of kiddos. So let's go ahead and get started. The first question is, how many children do you have? I have 8 children. They are all living. I have not ever had any miscarriages, so just 8 kids for us. The next question is, what are their ages? I currently have a 13-year-old, a 10-year-old, a 7-year-old who is just about to be 8 on Sunday, a 6-year-old, a 5-year-old, a 4-year-old, a 2-year-old, and an 8-month-old. So I had a stretch there for 4 kids where I was having a kid every year. Question number 3, what is your family structure? I guess the way I think of that question is, we are a routine family. We are not scheduled. We are more of a routine family, but even then we are very sporadic, and we just kind of decide to do things and go do them. We're not very good at planning really anything. We don't, as a family, we don't do very well planning stuff. We have our set routine of how we do things, and sometimes we go off our routine. So we are a routine family. Our family structure is more routine rather than scheduled. And yeah, okay. Question number 4, how old were you when you had your first baby? I was 20 when I had my first baby. I turned 20 in June and I had her in November. Number 5, were they all planned by you and your partner, or do you leave it up to God? So when we were first married, my husband kind of only wanted to have 2 kids. So it took us a little bit before I got pregnant, about 2 years before I got pregnant. And then I guess it was a little less than 2 years. About 2 years. Anyway, so we got pregnant with her, we had her, and we were happy with her. It took about 3 years before I convinced my husband for us to have another baby. And then we had Coulter, who is 3 years and 2 months younger than Kaylee. And we thought that we were going to be done with Coulter. I hated being pregnant with him. I didn't have a bad pregnancy. I just did not enjoy it. I was not happy being pregnant. I was tired. I was like, this is it. 1 more kid and we are done. No more after this. So that was our thoughts. We had even talked to my doctor about like having my tubes tied, or him having a mastectomy, or all of that stuff. And then he was born and we were like, okay, let's wait and see, because he's really cute and we do really like him. So we waited for a little while. And then I got pregnant with Crispin. And with Crispin, he is 2 years and about 6 months younger than Coulter. When I got pregnant with him, during my pregnancy, God completely changed our hearts. My husband was set on, for sure, he was only having 2 kids, and then here we are with 3 kids. And God totally did a work in him. I actually wanted to have 4 kids. I grew up with a family of 4 kids. My husband grew up with 1 brother, and so I think he was just fine with having only 2 kids. But when God changed him, he just changed our hearts to see that children are a blessing from him, that they are our reward, they are a gift, and also to see that as believers, we're to raise our children up to serve the Lord, to teach them his word, and to disciple them, and so that they can be arrows that we can shoot out into the world. And so that was something that God totally changed my husband's mind on. And after Crispin, I remember in the hospital after I had him, the nurse asking me about birth control, and I told her I was not going to take any birth control because I had been taking it before that. And I told her no, I wasn't having birth control. And she said, I just need to tell you that I cannot tell you that breastfeeding is a dependable form of birth control. And I totally understood that. I had done my research, and Austin and I both knew that we wanted to have more babies, and we wanted to God to control that. So we left it up to God, which ultimately it's always up to God. He is sovereign over all things. He can control how many babies you have. Even if you think you could never get pregnant, you can get pregnant. So we left it up to God. About 2 years ago, I guess, with Carrington. While I was pregnant with Carrington, I was tired. My body was tired. I've had 6 children in the last 7 years. So my body was really worn out. I was really struggling at the end of my pregnancy, especially with my hips going out, not being able to walk, not being able to stand, not being able to do anything, take care of the kids that I already had. I was struggling mentally. I was just totally exhausted. So we had thought with Carrington that we may take a break and not have any more kids for a little while. So knowing I did not want to go back on birth control, that was not an option for us. We tried some other things and decided that we did not like those either. So I got pregnant when Carrington turned a year old, almost to the exact day is when I found out I was pregnant. So the whole time I was pregnant with Clayton, we discussed my husband having a vasectomy because we both kind of knew that we were getting overwhelmed with all the amount of little ones that we had, and that we weren't doing well in parenting them, and that God was not glorified in the way that we were teaching our children and the way that we were raising them. And we want to do that well. We want to be faithful to these blessings that God has given us, to be able to teach them and to raise them in a way that brings God glory. And so we decided that after Clayton, he would be our last baby. I am still okay with that. I do get sad sometimes thinking about that because he's so fresh, he's so little still. So I will miss those little days, but I mean, ultimately it is up to God. He is in control of all things, and I know plenty of people who have had babies after they said they were done having babies. So we will see what God has for us, but as of right now, we have no plans to have any more children. All right, so number 6, what is your favorite reaction to telling someone how many children you have? My favorite reaction right now with Clayton, when I take him everywhere with me because he's still little, and when people ask me and my husband if we go out on a date and he is with us, and they will say, oh, is this your first baby? And we say, no, this is our 8th baby. And my favorite reaction is when people look at me and say, you do not look old enough to have 8 children. That makes me happy because I feel old enough to have 8 children. My body feels old enough, but and I do have 8 children, but it makes me feel good that people think I don't look old enough to have them all. So besides that, just people recognizing what a blessing they are and congratulating us or saying that's great. I enjoy your family, or whatever. All the good comments are good, but my favorite one is when people tell me I don't look old enough to have that many kids. Number 7, how do you usually handle negative comments? I don't handle them. Actually, I usually ignore them. And then I think about them later and think of all the sorts of snarky things I could have said back to someone. But I don't ever say anything. I usually just ignore people, or I just say, we are very blessed. That's usually what I tell people. We're very blessed. God has blessed us. I don't usually comment back if someone says anything negative. What does it cost to feed your large family? So, right now, for us, going to the grocery store, we probably spend Right now I try to spend only around $400 a month at the grocery store. The way that I am able to do that is because Kaylee and I volunteer at the food bank every month, and we do get food from that because there is always a lot of leftover food, and if we don't take it, they're going to throw it in the trash. And so we go there to get food and to volunteer, and that is a blessing to our family. It helps us to feed our kids. But before we were doing the food bank, we were spending close to $1,000 a month, and that does not include meat. I usually don't have to buy much meat because my in-laws have a farm and have cows, and they give us cows for Christmas and anniversary and birthday presents. So that's usually our gifts during the year is a beef. We eat a whole beef and we try to make it last the whole year. So I don't usually have to buy meat, but right now I'm spending only around $400 a month. When we don't have the food bank, I spend closer to $1,000 a month. Number 9, do you plan to have more children? Right now we do not plan to have more children. If God were to give us more children, we would be thankful and happy, but right now we don't have any plans for that. Number 10, what is your family vehicle? We have 2 vehicles. They're complete opposite of each other. The first one is a GMC Savannah. It's a 15-passenger van. It has 4-wheel drive. The whatever's been fixed to put 4-wheel drive in it. So it's a gas hog. It gets terrible gas mileage, but it fits us all, and it's paid for, and it's our van. So that's what we have. We also have a Geo Metro that has 4 seats in it, and it gets 35 miles a gallon. And we take that thing everywhere we can. If we have to run errands, my husband and I go by ourselves and leave my kids with my oldest daughter so that we can take the Geo with us. I try to take the Geo when I go grocery shopping so that I don't have to spend as much money on gas with the van. So we do try to save money by using our little car as often as possible, but obviously we can't all fit in there. So when we all go somewhere together, we have to take our van. Do you ever eat out? As a large family, we do not hardly ever eat out. We used to eat out a lot. My husband was a welder, and we traveled around, and he made very good money for a long time. And now he is not a welder anymore, and we are settled in our house. And one of the trade-offs for that, to have roots to put down, to have our house, was for him to get a different job. And at this job, he doesn't make as much money, and it's not in our budget to eat out. So we don't eat out hardly ever with our large family. How much milk do you go through in a week? If I were to let everyone eat as much cereal and drink as much milk as they wanted to, we would probably go through 2 gallons a week. But I try to limit it to 1 gallon a week. We have cereal in the mornings. Sometimes I will let people drink milk with their dinners, or if I have to use it for cooking or whatever. But right now it's about 1 gallon a week, maybe 1.5. When I was grocery shopping once a month, I would buy 6 to 8 gallons. So like maybe 1.5 gallons a week. How many rolls of toilet paper do you go through each day? I don't know. I don't keep track of that. We have 2 bathrooms, and I don't keep track of the toilet paper. I buy as big a package of toilet paper as I can when I buy toilet paper, and when I need to buy more toilet paper, I just buy it. So I don't pay attention to how much we go through each day. What is your favorite go-to meal? Probably grilled cheese sandwiches. We eat those a lot. Everyone likes them. They're cheap because we use our French bread we get off of the discount thing at Walmart. That's usually like 30 to 50 cents a loaf. So probably a grilled cheese sandwich or spaghetti. I will make spaghetti. If I don't know what else to make, I'll make spaghetti because everyone likes it and it's cheap. So that's what I'll make. Number 15, how do you spend one-on-one time with each of your children? So in the past, we've done different things. We had it set up for a while when we were settled somewhere and my husband was working only during the day, that each night we had certain children would stay up with us. Like Monday we'd have the big boys, or Tuesday we'd have Kaylee, and Wednesday the little girls, or whatever, and we would spend that one-on-one time with the kids. We don't do that anymore. We actually don't have any system really set up right now. We just take them with us when we can take them with us. I had to go to the grocery store the other day. I took Coulter with me, and Clayton obviously, and I enjoyed hanging out with Coulter. My husband, when he's got to run to town to get parts for something, he'll take one or two of the kids with him and, excuse me, and spend that time visiting with them and talking with them. So we don't have a specific schedule right now, I guess, or a specific way that we spend one-on-one time with the kids. We just do it as we can. Sometimes at night I will have Kaylee stay up and play a game with me, or Kaylee, Coulter, and Crispin get to stay up and play games, or Kaylee and Coulter, they are older now, and I let them stay up sometimes later, just to hang out and talk with them and spend time with them. So that's how we do that. Let's see. Number 16, how do you manage the clutter? I get rid of things. When I start feeling overwhelmed with the amount of stuff that we have in the house, I pack things up and take it out. I go to extremes of, if I've told the kids to clean up and there's still stuff everywhere, I get a bag out and I just put everything off the floor in the bag and I take it out to the Connex. And that's our storage unit, and I leave it out there because I can't handle the clutter. It makes me crazy, and it sucks away our time. The kids complain about having to clean it up, and they don't mind one single bit when I get rid of stuff. So that's how I manage it. I get rid of stuff. And our Connex is filled with clothes and some toys that I have plans this summer to go through, organize, sell some things, get rid of more things. But to get it out of the house, the clutter out of the house, it just gets put in a grocery sack or a garbage sack and taken out to the Connex. Number 17, do you homeschool, private school, or public school? We homeschool. We always have. We always will. We will not send our kids to public school. That's not an option for us. So homeschool is what we do. 18, how do you manage the chaos? I try to be scheduled, or not scheduled because we're not scheduled. We're a routine family. So I try to keep to our routine, but also be relaxed. To be flexible with our routine is something that you have to be able to do to manage your chaos that you have with a large family. It is loud at our table when we sit down to eat. It's loud whenever we're all in the house during the day. And that's part of having a lot of people, and not just a lot of people, but we have a lot of young little people that like to make noise and like to move around. They like to play, they like to jump, they like to yell, they like to laugh. So trying to be routine and keeping our routines going, our chores every day. We have to get the table chores done. We've got to get showers. People get dressed every day. That stuff to kind of keep them busy so that they're not like just play and make noise all the time. They have other jobs that they need to do. I have one child in particular, my 6-year-old. She gets very distracted, and she's very, I don't know how to describe her. She has been my challenging child. She likes to make noise. She has trouble sometimes getting along with a lot of the other kids. She gets distracted really easy. She's on her own time frame a lot of the time. So I give her some extra jobs to do in the morning because that keeps her busy where she's not getting into trouble, because she does tend to get into trouble a lot. So that keeps her busy, just giving the extra jobs to her that she needs so that her time is spent doing something instead of just having the free time to range around and do a mess. She does get free time, like, when everyone else gets free time. But because she is so distracted, if I only give her one chore, it will take her the entire time to do it, and it probably wouldn't get done. So I give her several, and I tell her the first one, and she'll go do it. And then she comes back, gets the next one, and she goes do it. And that helps to keep some of the chaos down, a lot of the fighting and the bickering that goes on. All right, number 19, what do you do if you get free time? I'm doing it right now. I have free time. My husband took all the big kids down to the river. 3 of the little kids that are left here are all taking naps. I'm shooting videos because I do not get this free time to sit down and do it very often. So I'm doing this. I also really enjoy sewing. I just made my daughter a swim dress, and it kind of got me in the mood for sewing. So I may try to do a little sewing throughout the summer as I have some free time. I like to bake. Okay, I also like to spend time outside in the garden, or just playing with the kids outside is fun for me. All right, last question, number 20. What is your number one tip for other large family moms? Having a large family and having to take care of all the kids all the time can wear you down. I don't get a lot of time to just think by myself. I usually have at least 2 people asking me questions. So it's important for me to have other large family moms that can understand that. Being a mom is hard anyway because you have someone else that you have to take care of. You can't just think about yourself all the time. So focusing your attention on other people, even if you have only one child, you have to focus your attention on that child to meet their needs and to take care of them and be a mother to them. But whenever you have so many of them all at once, it just is different. And so having other large family moms that you can relate with, that you can talk with, that you can share your struggles with, and especially other large family moms that know the Lord, that will encourage you in Christ. That is so important. I have a couple of friends that are large family moms. They have 4 kids, 8 kids, 9 kids, and they all can encourage me in Christ. They can point me back to His Word and point me back to His truth, point me back to the foundation, to encourage me and build me up and help me not to rely on my own strength. That is when things crumble, is whenever I try to do things all on my own and I'm not in God's Word, I'm not praying, I'm not seeking the Lord for help. So that is my number one tip for other large family moms, is to have other moms of large families that you can talk with that will also point you to Christ. You don't want them pointing you to the world and the world's standards and the world's solutions for problems. You want people who are going to point you to Christ and to His Word. So that's my number one tip for other large family moms. So this was super fun. Thank you guys so much for watching today. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe down below and give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed my video. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below and I will talk with you down there. I enjoy commenting back and forth. So thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time. Bye.